Greetings to Literary English. I am Elena, and currently I am not going to instruct you in the English you typically discover in textbooks. At this moment, I desire to educate you on the language individuals require when existence turns authentic. Because, let's be candid, numerous students can utter, "I am okay," but internally they are not all right. They experience anxiety, pain,
neglect, bewilderment, tension, isolation, gratitude, optimism, or dignity. However, they do not grasp how to articulate these emotions in English. Consequently, they grin, remain silent, and conceal their genuine identity. In this presentation, you will discover how to communicate actual sentiments in basic English without appearing discourteous, fragile, or muddled.
knowledge on what to utter when English seems frightening, when an individual wounds you, when strain turns excessive, and when your spirit requires assistance. Remain with me until the conclusion, because a single phrase from this footage might turn into the statement you demanded for decades. Chapter 1. Label what you experience. Numerous English pupils can converse about basic matters. They can remark, "I arise at dawn." They can mention, "I travel to employment." They can state, "I enjoy caffeine." They can declare, "This is my journal." Yet, when existence turns sentimental, when the soul matters, they can remark, "I arise at dawn." They can mention, "I travel to employment." They can state, "I enjoy caffeine." They can declare, "This is my journal." Yet, when existence turns sentimental, when the soul turns weighty, when the intellect turns occupied, and when an individual inquires if you are fine, abruptly the vocabulary vanishes. The student may experience many sensations internally, but externally only one tiny expression emerges: "I am unhappy." And occasionally even that phrase does not seem sufficient, because perhaps you are not merely sorrowful. Maybe you are wounded because an individual addressed you poorly. Internally, but externally only one tiny expression emerges: "I am unhappy." And occasionally even that phrase does not seem sufficient, because perhaps you are not merely sorrowful. Maybe you are wounded because an individual addressed you poorly. Maybe you are let down because you anticipated something superior. Maybe you are solitary because you require an individual to attend to you. Maybe you are apprehensive because you desire to converse in English, but your psyche is terrified of committing errors. This is why sentimental English is so vital. It grants your soul a speech. It assists you in stating what is truly occurring inside you. The initial action is very basic, but it is also very influential. You must acquire the skill to label what you experience.
When you cannot identify your emotion, you cannot clarify it vividly. You only experience strain inside, but you do not grasp how to transmit it in vocabulary. Many novices assume they require challenging English to communicate sentiments, but this is not factual. You do not demand lengthy terms to speak candidly. You require the appropriate basic terms. You demand expressions that seem spontaneous. You require vocabulary that parallels actual existence. For instance, "I am sorrowful" is helpful, but occasionally "I feel wounded" is more precise. "I am frustrated" is helpful, but occasionally "I feel unappreciated" is more robust and more sophisticated. I am weary is helpful, but occasionally I feel inundated clarifies your actual mental strain better. English turns influential when your vocabulary turns nearer to your actual emotion. Let us grasp some emotions in a very basic manner. Joyful, when you feel excellent inside. You can remark, I feel joyful today. Thrilled, when you are glad about something that is approaching. You can remark, I feel thrilled about this new tutorial. Satisfied, when you feel excellent because you performed something skillfully. You can remark, I feel satisfied with myself because I attempted. Comforted, when your anxiety turns diminished. You can remark, I feel comforted. These upbeat emotions are vital because sentimental English is not solely about agony. It is also about delight, optimism, appreciation, serenity, and self-assurance. A novice should grasp how to remark, I feel appreciative. I feel optimistic. I feel tranquil. And I feel inspired. These expressions are basic, but they make your English sound more profound and more authentic. Now, reflect on challenging emotions. Sorrowful, when something makes your soul weighty. Remark, I feel sorrowful today. Wounded, when an individual's vocabulary or deeds give you sentimental agony. This expression is composed and candid. You are not attacking the other individual, you are clarifying your emotion. Let down, when you anticipate something excellent but it does not occur. You can remark, I feel let down because I anticipated superior. Solitary, when you are by yourself and you require fellowship. Remark, I feel solitary today and I require an individual to converse with. Neglected, when individuals do not attend to you or do not perceive you. Remark, I feel neglected when nobody pays attention to me. Some emotions are linked with terror and strain. When you are terrified of something, you can remark, I feel terrified. When you are going to converse in English in front of an individual, you may remark, I feel apprehensive, but I desire to attempt. When your psyche does not grasp what is occurring, you can remark, I feel muddled. When there is excessive labor, too many reflections, or too much strain, you can remark, I feel inundated. This term is very helpful. It signifies your psyche has too much to support. Many students feel inundated when they observe many footages and still cannot converse effortlessly. You can remark, I feel inundated, so I require to decelerate. This expression grants you authority and assists you in understanding yourself instead of accusing yourself. There are also emotions that many individuals conceal because they feel bashful. Mortified, when you commit an error in front of individuals. Remark, I feel mortified about my blunder. Repentant, when you perform something incorrect and you feel bad about it. Remark, I feel repentant because I pained an individual. Uneasy, when you assume individuals will evaluate you. Remark, I do not feel uneasy with this. Misinterpreted, when you trust an individual does not grasp you. Remark, I feel misinterpreted. These expressions assist you in speaking with maturity. They make you vivid, not fragile. An individual who can clarify emotions composedly is sentimentally robust. Recall the basic template, I feel. This template can unlock many portals. You can make it gentler, I feel a bit apprehensive, or more robust, I feel very strained. You can clarify more by remarking, I feel apprehensive because I do not desire to commit an error. Or request what you require. I feel muddled, so I require a bit of assistance. This is how sentimental English turns functional. You label the emotion, clarify the motive, and remark what you require. Let us rehearse. Before speaking, I feel apprehensive, but I shall attempt. After a painful remark, I feel wounded by what occurred. After a blunder, I feel mortified, but I am still discovering. After performing something excellent, I feel elated, feel satisfied with myself. When existence is weighty, I feel inundated and I require a brief interval. When requiring benevolence, I feel solitary today and I require an individual to attend. When you dislike a condition, I do not feel comfortable with this. Do not postpone until your English is flawless to communicate your sentiments. Your emotions are already authentic. Your speech signifies. Begin with tiny sentimental expressions every day. In the dawn, query yourself, how do I feel today? This tiny routine transforms your English because you are discovering to grasp yourself in the dialect. When you can identify it, you can communicate it and turn more self-assured. Chapter 2. When English seems frightening. Occasionally, the toughest portion of English is not syntax or lexicon. It is the emotion that arrives before you converse. Your soul turns rapid, and your psyche turns vacant. You desire to converse, but you terrorize committing errors or being mocked. This is the concealed terror of many novices. You must acquire the skill to communicate this terror instead of concealing. Self-assurance does not signify terror. Vanishes. It signifies you can converse even when terror is residing inside you. A self-assured student can remark, I feel apprehensive, but I desire to attempt. This grants you authorization to be human. When you remark, I am still discovering, so please be tolerant, you are displaying bravery, not fragility. One of the most helpful expressions is, I require a moment to reflect. This expression grants you duration and informs the listener you are organizing your response. Speaking vividly is the primary objective, not speaking rapidly. Also, do not be mortified to remark, please converse leisurely. Requesting for transparency is standard even for native orators. You can remark, can you converse leisurely, please? Can you reiterate that, please? I grasp some vocabulary, but not everything. Novices turn superior by speaking, not by concealing. Transform blunders into rehearsal by remarking, I am terrified of committing errors, but I desire to rehearse. My English is not flawless yet, but I am advancing. I committed a blunder. Let me attempt once more. If you grasp the response, but the expression is trapped, remark, I grasp, but I require duration to respond. This informs individuals your psyche is functioning, even if your mouth requires duration. It safeguards your self-assurance. English seems frightening when you assume everyone is evaluating you, but most individuals just desire to grasp your point. A blunder does not characterize you. Every time you converse or request an individual to reiterate, your terror turns feebler and your self-assurance turns more robust. Do not remark your English is poor, remark it is expanding. Converse with terror and slowly instruct your psyche that English is not a hazard. Chapter 3. Utter agony with decorum. There are instances when an individual states something that wounds or makes you feel tiny. In your soul, you desire to remark something, but you do not desire to clash or be discourteous. Actual sentimental English signifies grasping how to utter agony with decorum. It signifies you can safeguard your soul without assaulting others. You can be vivid without being heartless. Remark, I feel wounded by what occurred. You are not accusing wildly. You are opening the portal to dialogue. If wounded by vocabulary, I feel wounded by your remarks. If neglected, I feel neglected. If addressed severely, please do not converse to me like that. If mocked, I am discovering and I would like you to honor that. Courteous English can still be resolute and carry self-honor. Resentment urges you to utter hard vocabulary, but agony desires to be grasped. Instead of remarking, you never concern, remark, I feel trivial when my vocabulary is neglected. You also require boundary expressions. A boundary is a respectful boundary. I cannot perform this currently. I require some distance. I do not desire to dispute. I honor you, but I also require honor. If you are misinterpreted, do not surrender. Remark, I assume you misinterpreted me. That is not what I intended, or let me clarify it again. This mends the dialogue. Sophisticated English also includes uttering regret. If you wounded an individual, take accountability. I am regretful for what I stated. I did not intend to wound you. I committed a blunder and I admit it. You do not require resentful English to be robust. You require vivid, composed, and respectful English. When you utter your agony with decorum, your English turns more courageous. Chapter 4. Manage tension and strain. Some days seem weighty because tiny matters accumulate in your psyche: duties, finances, destiny, and English. You might remark, I am weary, but you might actually be strained, inundated, trapped, or disheartened. Strained. I feel strained today, or I have too much strain on my psyche. Inundated. When there is excessive data. Remark, I feel inundated, or I require a brief interval. Trapped. When you are rehearsing but feel no motion. Remark, I feel trapped, or I feel like I am not advancing. Disheartened. When optimism is fragile. Remark, I feel disheartened, but I do not desire to quit. Thwarted. When exertion doesn't bring the anticipated consequencia. Remark, I feel thwarted because I am attempting intensely. The way you converse to yourself signifies. Instead of remarking, my English is poor, remark, my English is still expanding. Instead of, I am too sluggish, remark, I am learning at my own pace. These are practical expressions that give your battle a superior path. When existence seems weighty, use English. to grasp yourself, not to chastise yourself. Chapter 5. Distribute optimism and assistance. English is also for tender instances and benevolent emotions. It is for remarking, "I really value you. I feel satisfied with myself. I am here for you. You are performing superior than you assume." Appreciation is more than just "thank you." Attempt, "I really value your assistance." Or, "That signifies a lot to me." For comfort, remark, "I feel comforted now," or "That assisted me a lot." Be satisfied with your path. You can feel satisfied today because you discovered 5 new expressions. Remark, "I feel satisfied with myself because I attempted." Use optimism to keep progressing. "I trust I can advance." Converse optimism to yourself. Requesting assistance is not defeat, it is a sophisticated way to care for yourself. Remark, "I require an individual to attend," or "I require a bit of heartening." Assist others too. "You can perform this," or "You are advancing every day." This makes your English cozy and authentic. Chapter 6. Transform emotions into dialogues. The actual influence arrives when you use these expressions in authentic instances. Use this 3-action technique. Label your emotion. Clarify the motive. Remark what you require. Illustration. "I feel apprehensive because I am speaking English. I require a moment to reflect." "I feel wounded because your remarks were hard for me. I require honor." If an individual queries, "Are you okay?" and you're having a challenging duration, remark, "I am." "Having a difficult day, but I am attempting to stay robust." If an individual lauds you, remark, "Thank you. I feel satisfied because I rehearse every day." Sentimental English does not signify being a bard or using complex lexicon. It signifies speaking candidly. It signifies you can utter what is occurring inside you. You do not require perfect English to communicate authentic sentiments. You require candid English. Every time you communicate an authentic emotion, you turn more self-assured and vibrant in the language. Continue discovering for authentic existence, self-assurance, and expansion. Compose in the remarks which emotion is toughest for you to communicate, and begin your path toward authentic, sentimental English. Appreciation for observing.